So we have reached the level of 14Q. Let's see what problems we will encounter here. In this first one, we have a white surrounded group. We should find a way to attack this white group. But actually with the strongest white resistance, it's going to be a ko. So make sure you not only find the correct first move for black, but also think about white's strongest resistance. So the first move for black is b1. Playing in the middle of the eye space here, it's a good move because it's not easy for white to approach either from a1 or c1. And it's also immediately threatening a snapback on c2. So if white doesn't play anything, we can just play the c2 snapback and kill everything. So we play b1, and white can try a1, even though it's Atari, or self-Atari, this one move. When we capture it, it's a ko shape, so white will be able to fight this ko for a chance to save the group. If white had a ko threat else from the board, white can take back, and white could hope to live like this. So it's only a ko fight, but this is the best black can do. Any other move like c1, white is going to be completely alive, so it's better to at least get this ko fight. And normally black would be pretty happy with a ko like this in the game. You're not risking a lot. Like when black loses the ko, white just lives. It's not like black is becoming very weak on the outside or anything. So it's quite a nice ko for black to fight this one. Alright, here we have a surrounded black group. We should find a way to create two eyes with this black group. The vital point here is b1. And this creates 2i. White can try b3, but we can just play here. And now either a3 or b2 works to kill this one stone and create our second eye. Let's play this one since it's slightly better on points. If we had played anything else, white could have played b1 to kill us. So if we play, for instance, here, white plays b1, and here, we're dead. If we play here, we have b1, and we are dead. And if we play here, we again have b1 and we are dead. This one is a little bit tricky. It could look like it's a Seki shape because, you know, it's a 4 in a row, and if white plays either a1 or a3, it's going to be turned into an alive shape. But white is not going to play a1 or a3. Instead, white is just going to calmly take the liberties on the outside once white actually wants to kill this group. And we can see that this final move is Atari. And now it's a connect and die. Black connects here, white captures. And if black prevents that by one move earlier, going in for the kill here, now black is just capturing 3 stones, white can play in the middle, and it's a dead shape. So this is one of the more tricky dead shapes to learn to recognize, that 3 white stones in a row here, this 2 ones, but due to the fact that this outer black chain will be put in Atari eventually, it's not a Seki, it's just that. Okay, I think I covered the main move. I don't think I covered this one. This also needs to be considered. It's a similar variation like before. So we can see b1 is the vital point in all the variations. So when you've seen this kind of position before, your eyes as black here are immediately drawn to b1 is the best way to create eyes. And then it's just kind of a formality to check that the b3 Tetsuji for white there doesn't work. Looks like it could be a clamp to connect on a4, but doesn't work to connect out. Okay, we have a white group that we should try to kill. Pause the video, see if you can find the killing move. Here it's nice to think about the opponent's key point is your own. So as white, the easy move to live would be d2, or one easy move to live would be d2, because this would create one eye on c2 and the other eye on b1. So if we play anything else than d2, white is going to play there and be happy. If we play e1, e2, white play d2. If we play e3, d2. Okay. So we need to go there ourselves. We need to play d2. So this being a problem, I can, by this logic, by a process of elimination, work out that d2 has to be the solution. Of course, in a real game, we wouldn't be able to do that. We need to also check that it actually kills, because if this also doesn't work, it would be a waste to play it in a real game. So let's think about it. d2, white can play e2, and then we can play the e3 Atari here. And this is Atari on the 2 stones, so white needs to capture, and then we can play e1, and this will falsify this eye. So there are a couple of different order of moves there, but the idea is always the same, that white will be able to capture d2, but it's going to turn into a false eye. So let's see it happen. We play here, white plays here, And I think either move works here. We could play either e1 or e3. It's the same idea. Let's do e3. White captures, we play here, and now this is a false eye, so white only has one eye and it's dead. I guess there's one other variation here, which is what if white connects here? Then black could simply Atari and connect out. Or if white Ataris from this side, we could even just come out like this, and we're going to connect either on e1 or e3. But I think the most important takeaway here is the way to find the d2 move here. It's nice to consider where could white play to create two eyes easily, and whenever you could find one of those moves that white could respond to any of our moves with d2, then it becomes apparent that we need to get there first, and then we just need to check that it actually works. Alright, surround the black group in the corner. We should find a way to survive with this black group. Here we need to watch out for white creating the bulky 5 shape. We can actually apply very similar logic to the last problem, that if white gets to play the c1 point, then it's a bulky 5 and that will be bad for us. So if we play a2, white can c1, it's a bulky 5, it's bad. Once we capture it, we're going to be dead. And b1, white can also play c1, and it's the same bulky 5. So we need to play c1 ourselves. And white doesn't have much to do. a2 would be self-Atari, and if white takes a liberty on the outside, we can just play the a2 Atari. If white captures on b1, we just play a2 Atari. So basically in all those variations, in the end here, we're going to get to capture these 5 stones, and these 5 stones are in a good shape, where this is enough space to live, which is different from the from this bulky 5 shape, which is not a good 5 stones to capture because this is dead. So yeah, we can rely here either on our knowledge of dead shapes and recognize that, okay, the bulky 5 is killing shape, or we could have this idea that, yeah, if white gets to play c1, then we're dead, so we need to take that point away from white. Okay, this will be the final problem. We should find a way to create 2 eyes with the surrounded black group. So the different moves to consider here, we can think about maximizing the eye space or taking a vital point. It's often good to start thinking about maximizing eye space as the first idea. So let's say, for instance, e1. e1, actually white has very interesting Tetsuji here, which is the c2 wedge. So white will wedge on c2, we can Atari down, but then we're not going to be able to approach from either b1 or d1. So if we play e1, then c2 wedge is going to be a problem for us. So let's think about instead c3. Well, if white harness from the outside, we can simply play c1, and then we have 2 secure eyes on c1 and b1, so that's good. If white jumps to the vital point on c1, we can play b1. It almost looks like white can connect out with e1, but then we can just Atari on c2 and capture the c1 stone. So this is actually the working move to live. I don't think there's any other promising moves for white apart from c1 and e1. You can check that b1 and d1, black just responds on c1 and is easily alive. So let's just play it now. We already found one solution. We could also worry later about other solutions, but we can play this one. And we see here we need to block b1 because we can't allow white to play b1 and ruin our eyes. Play here, now we can't cut on d1, so we have to play Atari here. And we need to play something because otherwise white plays d1 on the next move and kills us. We need to play c2, and this guarantees us to capture the c1 stone. Okay, let's look at the interesting here failure variation when black plays this one, and white finds this Tetsuji here. Now we notice if black plays this side, okay, this is no eye space because this is a false eye. So we need to try this one, but then it's not possible to play b1 or d1, so this is that. So very tricky dead shape here actually. And yeah, anything else, d1 is just too small shape. And similarly c1, white will force here first and then come e1. And if b1, this is also interesting because this is the vital point inside. That this is a promising candidate move. So this creates an secure eye on a1, but actually white has a way to now ruin the eye on the outside. But white needs to find a very maybe, actually, are there two moves that work? I guess there are two moves that work here. I think either d1 or e1 here kills. So white can play e1 and then play c2, and now black cannot cut on c3. Or a similar idea, the d1 move, and then here, and black cannot cut here. So this is also not quite working. c3, only move to live. Thank you for watching, see you in the next video.